There is a book. It is not large, nor is it bound in gold or jewels. It is a small, unassuming volume, its pages made of weathered animal vellum. But within this modest book lies what has been called the most mysterious manuscript in the world. It is a book filled with elegant, flowing script, but it is written in a language that no one on earth can read. Its pages are covered in hundreds of beautiful, hand-drawn illustrations of plants that do not exist, of astronomical charts we cannot understand, and of strange, ritualistic scenes that defy all explanation. For over a century, it has resisted every attempt at decryption. It has defeated the world's most brilliant codebreakers, baffled the most powerful computers, and fueled 1,000 wild theories. It is a ghost on the page, a puzzle box with no key. This is the story of the Voynich Manuscript and the enduring mystery of the unbreakable code. Our story begins in 1912 in a Jesuit college near Rome. A Polish American rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich was sifting through a chest of ancient manuscripts. Among them, he found it, a small, strange book that immediately stood out. He knew, with the instinct of a seasoned collector, that he was holding something unique. He purchased the manuscript and dedicated the rest of his life to solving its mystery. He sent copies to the leading cryptographers and linguists of his time, but no one could make sense of it. The manuscript, now named after him, became his obsession. Carbon dating has since placed its creation sometime in the early 15th century, between 1404 and 14, but its true history is a puzzle. A letter found tucked inside its pages suggests it was once owned by the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II, a man obsessed with alchemy and the occult. From there, its path is a trail of whispers and shadows, passing through the hands of alchemists and scholars, until it vanished for 200 years, only to reappear in that dusty Jesuit chest. But who wrote it? And why? The book itself offers no clues. It is a perfect enigma. To understand the mystery, we must first look inside. The Voynich Manuscript is divided into 6 distinct sections, each with its own bizarre and beautiful illustrations. The first and largest section is the herbal section. It contains over 100 drawings of strange, fantastical plants. Some look like amalgams of real-world species, a root from one plant, a leaf from another, a flower from a third. Others look like nothing on Earth. They are drawn with a strange combination of scientific precision and dreamlike fantasy. Are these the lost records of an ancient botanist? Or the fever dream of an artist? The second section is the astronomical section. It is filled with intricate circular diagrams, celestial charts showing the sun, the moon, and what appear to be constellations of stars. But these are not the familiar constellations of the zodiac. They are strange, unique patterns, often with nymphs or figures emerging from them. It seems to be a map of the heavens, but a heaven that we do not recognize. The third section is perhaps the most bizarre. It is known as the balneological section, from the Latin word for bathing. It is filled with drawings of small, naked women, usually with prominent abdomens, bathing in a series of elaborate interconnected pools and tubes. The green liquid that flows through these strange contraptions has been interpreted as everything from a representation of bodily humors to a complex alchemical process. The scenes are not erotic. They are strange, clinical, and deeply mysterious. Following this is the cosmological section, with more abstract circular diagrams that seem to map a larger unknown. Then comes the pharmaceutical section, with more drawings of plant parts, roots, and leaves, set next to what appear to be apothecary jars, as if they are recipes for ancient medicines or potions. And finally, the last section is composed of solid text, with no illustrations, just page after page of the beautiful, flowing, and utterly incomprehensible script. It is a world on paper, a world that seems to follow its own internal logic, but a logic that remains for us completely out of reach. The heart of the mystery, of course, is the text itself. The Voynich script, or Voynichese, is unique. It is composed of about 25 to 30 distinct characters, written from left to right. It is not a random scribble. Statistical analysis has shown that it follows all the linguistic patterns of a real, functional language. It has a clear word structure, with certain characters appearing more frequently at the beginning or end of words, just like in English or any other language. It follows Zipf's law, a statistical rule that governs the frequency of words in all natural languages. In short, the text behaves exactly like a real language. But if it is a real language, it is one that no one has ever seen before. And if it's a code, it is one of unprecedented genius. The greatest codebreakers of the 20th century, including William Friedman, the man who led the team that broke Japan's purple cipher during World War II, spent years trying to crack it. Friedman, after decades of work, was forced to admit defeat. He concluded it was an attempt to construct an artificial, universal language, a philosophical project of the early Renaissance. But he could not prove it. In the modern era, the full power of computational linguistics and artificial intelligence has been brought to bear on the manuscript, and still it holds its secrets. This has led to three major competing theories. The first, and perhaps the most cynical, is the hoax theory. This theory posits that the entire manuscript is a brilliant, meaningless fake, a gibberish text created by a clever con artist in the 15th or 16th century, specifically to be sold to a wealthy and gullible patron like Emperor Rudolph II. The creator would have had to be a genius, someone with a deep understanding of linguistics to create a fake language so statistically convincing, and a talented artist to create the hundreds of bizarre illustrations. But the recent carbon dating makes this theory more difficult. Why would someone in the early 1400s create such an elaborate, time-consuming hoax with no obvious buyer in mind? And recent chemical analysis of the inks shows they were made from common medieval ingredients, applied smoothly and confidently, without the hesitation one might expect from someone inventing a script. The second theory is the lost language theory. This theory suggests that the manuscript is written in a real, natural language that has simply been lost to history. Perhaps it is an early Germanic or Northern Italian dialect for which we have no other surviving record. Or perhaps it is an East Asian language transcribed into a custom-made alphabet. This would explain the natural linguistic patterns in the text. But if it is a real language, why is it so unique? And why have we found no other trace of this script anywhere else in the world? It would have to be a language that existed in a small, isolated community, and the Voynich Manuscript would be its last and only survivor. The third and most tantalizing theory is the cipher theory. This theory argues that the manuscript is not a language at all, but an encrypted message. The text we see is a meaningless ciphertext, and hidden beneath it, through some complex cryptographic method, is a meaningful plaintext written in a known language like Latin or Italian. This would explain the strange statistical properties of the text. But what kind of cipher could be so complex that it has resisted the world's best codebreakers for a century? Proponents have suggested everything from a simple substitution cipher to a complex, multi-step process involving grids and codes. But every attempt to apply these methods has resulted in nothing but gibberish. If it is a cipher, it is one of a kind, a work of cryptographic genius that was centuries ahead of its time. So we are left with a ghost, a book that speaks but tells us nothing, a work of art that shows us a world we cannot recognize, a code that we cannot break. The Voynich Manuscript is a mirror. It reflects the hopes, the biases, and the obsessions of those who try to solve it. The cryptographer sees a cipher. The linguist sees a lost language. The botanist sees a forgotten pharmacopoeia. The conspiracy theorist sees the work of aliens or a lost civilization. It is the ultimate intellectual inkblot test. But the book itself remains silent, its secrets locked away behind a veil of elegant, mocking script. It is a testament to the fact that for all our technology and all our knowledge, there are still mysteries in this world that are so profound, so complete, that they may never be solved. It is a beautiful, frustrating, and humbling reminder that the most enduring secrets are not the ones that are hidden in the dark, but the ones that are written in plain sight, in a language we have yet to understand.